Could Carlos Sainz go elsewhere, or do you see a domino effects of a busy 2025 silly season everywhere? As Josh mentioned, so many contracts are up at the end of 24.
Yeah, I believe he said like there's 14 seats that are going to be available for 2000. Yeah, 14 seats available for 2025. Like, there's no telling what's going to happen. While we've seen Carlos Sainz rumored, to lead the Audi effort once they come online in a couple of years' time, I think anything could happen. We've seen a lot of rumors, not come true in Formula One, motorsports in general. So while Carlos Sainz might be the favorite to lead the Audi program, he might sign on somewhere else. I know no Mercedes is going to be looking for a driver, but I always found it very interesting how Carlos Sainz, has been able to, stay in Formula One this long, be able to go from team to team to team and all of this. And I'm sure he's going to be able to find another team that'll take his services. So right now, I think it's really up in the air where Carlos Sainz could go, but I do have confidence that we're going to see him continue his Formula One career.
Yeah, I agree with Kobe. I think Carlos does have a lot of options. I do think, though, that had Mercedes wanted Carlos Sainz to take Lewis Hamilton's spot, it would have been something that they would have announced earlier on. But I think that Mercedes is really considering all the options they have right now. And, as you also mentioned, Kobe, Carlos Sainz could also be a potential candidate for one of the Audi seats as well, because we do know that his dad has that connection to Audi as well. But as you guys mentioned, it may take a few years for Audi to get competitive enough for Carlos Sainz to join on to the team. But hopefully, whatever team he ends up going with, it does turn out to be positive for him, because he is quite a talented driver. And as we saw, he was the only non-Red Bull driver to win last season as well. But to answer the second part of that question, the domino effect, 2025 is definitely going to be a very busy, silly season. Josh pointed out there's 14 contracts up. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to follow along and see what happens. And honestly, I was pretty excited going into this 2024 season, but now there's so much that we're excited for 2025. I kind of just want to skip through this year and get on to the next season.
So like 73% of the field, isn't it? It's really bizarre. But somewhere, if we're all very, very quiet, somewhere in the distance, we can hear Jolyon Palmer laughing. I think that's quite ironic. If you're wondering why, Jolyon Palmer got his seat taken from him by Carlos Sainz. When Sainz left Toro Rosso, he joined Renault for the last 4 races of the season and effectively ended Jolyon's career in Formula One after he just got his best ever result of 6th at Singapore. And Jolyon's not bitter, but I would not be surprised if he's a bit, like to him over there, because he's now been kicked again. Let's not forget, he got dropped by Renault. He got dropped by Ferrari now. If I was Mercedes, I wouldn't take him. Sainz is a very good driver. He's very quick. He's always there at the end of the race, as Martin Brundle said. And I think what he did at Silverstone was very clinical to get the win from Ferrari and Leclerc wanting it to be Leclerc, but Leclerc damaged wing and rubbish tyres. To me, I thought he really came alive at Singapore. That was a masterclass race. Didn't have the fastest car, wasn't the fastest driver, but he played the game. He backed Lando up into the 2 Mercedes, and that got him the win. So that was a very good. It reminds me a bit of Prost. Not got the speed, but he's got the brain. He's got it up here as well to where he knows. And it's not going to be Mercedes. As you said, Isha, it would have been announced immediately. They would have just done direct swap. It's not going to be Red Bull, because that's going to be Danny Ricciardo. It's not going to be Toro Rosso, because he's not going to go massively backwards. The only option he's got is Audi. Now, that's 2026. Now, does he take the risk of going to Sauber for 2025 and just sort of having a year there, getting used to it all? It's a risk there. There's lots at stake if he does that. But then again, there's a lot of risk if he takes a year out, because where do you go? I see this happening. He'll go in 2025 to World Endurance Championship and race for Ferrari there in their hypercar program and try and win Le Mans as like a goodbye gift. And then in 2026, he'll come in with Audi as the team leader, either alongside Bottas. I don't think that's going to happen. Or more realistically, as I said all along, alongside Schumacher. So there's loads up in the air about that. But this silly season, piece by piece, it's getting more and more complicated. We thought it was going to be, we knew it was going to be big. We did not know that the biggest piece on the board was going to get moved immediately. This has kicked off everything. We all pretty much had an idea where everybody might go. Forget it. It's all gone. Nobody saw this coming, so nobody's got a clue what's going to happen next.
Yeah, well, Josh, I know I agree with you for sure. It's not going to be Toro Rosso. It might, however, be Visa Cash App RB or whatever the heck they're called, to put it a little bit.
V-Carb, I think it's now is. I'm not calling that.
When was that? Was that Kimmy who came on the radio? I'm stuck behind the Force India or whatever the fill in the blank.
Whatever
Sport pays a Racing Point Formula One team.
Calling them in the comment box was ridiculous because it was still Force India, but it was Racing Point Force India. And then it became Racing Point, and then it became Aston Martin. It was just like, I just wanted to grab Lawrence Stroll by the throat and go, "What is your name? What is your name?" Because it's annoying everybody in the comment box. But yeah, I don't think it'll end up back at, where is it, Minardi?
There you go, even better.